right, and we are back. It is another weekend, and I'm doing exactly what I don't want to be doing. So we do got some heads back. So these are back from the machine shop. They did a pretty good job. So we got these guys decked up. They're all nice and smooth. We got all the surfaces cleaned for the most part. So we are good to go. They were hot tanked. So we're going to go ahead and get these puppies back on that. I did clean up all these surfaces with a razor blade. So I did clean all the surfaces, all these front surfaces. I cleaned out all the crap that fell in it. I wiped out all the bores. And we are ready to go back together. Try not to get too much dirt in there because I'm in a garage and I don't have... My big compressor is not at the house. So make sure you just wipe those things out. You don't get anything knocked in there. So yeah, now we're going to get this thing back together. First up, I guess we put some head gaskets on. So I did order a kit online. It's just an engine tech top end rebuild kit, head gaskets and stuff. They're not the best, but again, this is not a Ferrari. So we do have metal head gaskets. So it does come with some metal head gaskets, which are what you want to use. So we're going to go ahead and get these guys put on. All right, so one of the first things you want to do is get yourself your air going. You want to blow out all these little holes, all the holes where the bolts were. Get all that out of there and wipe it all up. Get all, oh, now it's got junk in it. All right, and that's about it. That's all you really got to do. I already blew out all these holes, as you can tell by all the junk. Just wanted to make sure I could. Not too much. All right, let's get to work. Shut my air off. All right, so we got two head gaskets. They are pretty much identical. So sometimes if you're doing a motor, this gasket will say up right here or something to designate which side goes up. But because they are exactly identical, it doesn't matter. And they are both stamped the exact same. So they just go on there. One goes over here in the eyelets on these guys, and that one goes over here on these guys. Whatever you do, don't pinch something in the head gasket when you're putting it on. This guy won't stay out of the way, so stay over there or something. So now everybody's out of the way. We're going to go ahead and drop some heads on this thing. All right, and fun fact, it's really hard to screw these up or to put them on the wrong side because, yeah, you know, they don't fit on the wrong side. There it is. Now you go on the front one and we'll be, there you go. Sun's out pins. Man. Numero doso. Bam. Right on there. All right, let's get some bolts. All right, so you want to use new bolts because the old ones are torque to yield. You can't tell that this is stretched, but this bolt has already stretched to tension, so you don't want to reuse head bolts. And it looks like these already have lubrication on them, both under the washer and on the threads. So you don't want to really clean these off. I don't want to put too much oil on them, but I do want to put a little bit on here, and I do want to get a little bit under this head, just so that it doesn't bind up against the fresh clean head. So let's go ahead and get these dropped in, and we'll start torquing them down. So if you do have dry engine bolts and they come in a nice bag or something like that, you can use like motor oil. So you just want to put a little bit under the washer and a little bit over the washer under the head, and you just want to put a little bit on the threads. It just keeps it from binding up when you're torquing it down and getting a false torque reading. If there's a little bit of oil on there, that's fine. You don't want to put a lot. You don't want to fill the hole up with oil because then you hydrolock the bottom and you can get a false torque reading that way. So just a little bit. A little bit goes a long way on these guys. All right, so now we're going to get these bolts torqued in there. I'm just kidding, you can't use this thing. Alright, but I am going to use my little electric ratchet just to run them down. I'm not going to torque them down, but just to get rid of that. You also want to run from the center out. So you want to crisscross the center and then crisscross the outside all the way to 20 pounds. Well, I left my big torque wrench at the shop, but lucky for me, and you guys, you don't need a big one. The first torque spec on these head bolts is only 20 foot-pounds in that same pattern. 20 foot-pounds in that same pattern. Then you put the little guys on, and then it's 90 degrees, and then 90 degrees again, and that's it. So it's not really a torque number. Some engines are like that. Some engines are like torque to 20, then torque to 60, and then torque to 87. But this one is 20 foot-pounds, and then 90 degrees, and then 90 degrees. So thank God. That just means I can use my little 3/8 torquey wrench. So we're gonna set this sucker up at 20 pounds and give her hell. All right, now that we're set up, another tip is you don't want to use a very long extension. You don't want to use an extension at all if you can get around it. Because of these silly towers, I have to put an extension on here because I can't get over to this guy and get a swing on it. So we have to use an extension. I could use a long one and then a short guy, but this is what we got. We're only going to 20 pounds right now on this guy, so let's get at it. Let me just start down here and just go to 20. That was easy. Another thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you can get a good swing on that, onto that 20. If it's already tight, you want to make sure you can get a good full swing to 20 pounds. Otherwise, you kind of defeat the purpose of torquing it, and it could be a false reading. These are all pretty good. Yeah, thank God. I mean, it's only 20 pounds, right? Now, before we 90 those guys, I want you to put these guys in, but I want you to put a little bit of stuff on these two because this goes directly into the oil galley, and if they're not sealed, they could potentially leak, I guess. I don't see how they could, but we're just going to go ahead and put a little bit of RTV on those two. The other two don't matter, the ones that are in the motor, because they're all in the motor. So we'll just go ahead and put a little bit of this on there. These guys go to 10 foot-pounds, including the ones inside right now. And then in the end, they go to 19. So we're just going to run these guys in and get ready for the next step. All right, now for the most crucial part of this whole thing is being able to swing these head bolts 90. So of course you want to start by making sure that you can get it all the way to 90. Come back up and we'll pull from 90 right there, huh? And we'll pull all the way to 90. Ugh. And this one, make sure we can pull all the way to 90. Okay, here we go. Ready? Oh, that's not all. Yep. Okay, ready? That's it. 90. Okay. Yep, some of this stuff gets in the way. Might have to take that dipstick out, but $90. One more. That's not quite 90, buddy. Okay. Well, we're a little off. We're going to have to go a little bit farther. 90. Okay. Now, these ones I'm going to run into a problem because I'm going to hit the radiator first. So, wherever we start, we just got to think we're, hitting 90. So, right about here. 90. Let's do this one first. Okay, so now this one is going to be a problem. So we might have to take this dipstick out. Or we just don't be an idiot and go under it. Dummy. Alrighty, here we go. That's 90. All right. And ta-da! Now we'll do this side, and then we'll come back and do this side again. And last but not least, one more turn to 90 for both sides, and we should be good. This is where it's going to get really hard, because that's got some torque on her now. Tell you what, doing this last torque to 90 degrees really sucks. The longer the better. You might have to get a shorter one in there, but I did manage to get this sucker in there. So that part's no fun. Now we just torque these guys down to 19 foot-pounds, and the heads are then on. I'm gonna use this cute little guy just to go to 20. Alright, so first thing we gotta do is get these hydraulic lifters and stuff in here, but let's just go ahead and lubricate all this stuff up right now, just so we have some oil in there. I don't know, this is how I do it. Besides assembly lube, this is a little cruder, a little easier. We'll just get some oil and everything. And that way we can not have to worry about a dry start. So we'll just go ahead and lube these up and the other side, and we'll be ready to go. Alright, so then next we can get these guys dropped in. Yeah. Yep, there we go. I don't really care about making an oily mess, because I don't. Ouch. We'll get the next set. Then we will get the rockers, and we put the rockers on. Nice. Okay, now that the rockers are in, we're gonna put a little bit of oil on everybody. I'll lay around before we drop this cam in here. Next, we drop the cams in. Make sure those nipples are straight up to the ground, not the head, because they go, well, she's gonna sit in there like that right now. And that one's gonna sit in there just like that for now. And then we'll put some caps on her. All right, putting the caps back on, in case you forget, they are numbered. This is number 4 on the right side, and the little arrow points to the front. So this is the last one. Just like so. There, now I don't have to worry about this cam falling out of here. And I will do the same to the other side. Alright, and all these bearing caps, all these cam caps go to 100 inch-pounds. Alright, next we got to put these chains on. There's no guides or anything in there. And in order to get them on, you'll see on this one, oh, wait, too bright. You'll see the left and the right. This is the left cam gear, so there's a mark there. You'll know that they're right when this assembly is straight up and down. And you look inside that hole right there, and you'll see the 2 orange marks on that chain. If you look through this other window, you'll see the 2 orange marks on the back chain. You really can't see in this camera, but I promise they're there. And if you can see the 2 orange marks in that window, follow it up, you'll see these 2 marks lined right up, and that cam is straight up. This cam is off about 45 degrees. Again, this is really bright. Let's turn that off. This cam is off, so we'll have to tighten this nut up, or tighten the bolt up, and it'll rotate. And then we can put that orange mark in that groove and line that guy up. So let's get that tight. All right, let's see if we can do this. So this has got to come all the way up here. Put this on. Now we're going to hope that this cam doesn't slip over the lobe right here. So we're looking like we're getting pretty close. Can we get that guy? Boom. Right there, just like that. So now you stay Whew, right there. We'll get some guides and stuff in here, so that'll be next. So now we got both sides and everybody's set up. This is straight up and down, orange and orange. All the chains are on the right spot. All right, the next thing that's fun is resetting your hydraulic tensioners on your guides. This one I've already reset. You could just use an Allen key. This side, this needs to go all the way in. There's a lock in here. So if you pull the bolts out, if you pick the lock or lift the lock up, you can move this in. All right, let's use the end of the table here. That should work. Flip the lock up, walk it all the way down. Oh, there it goes. Stick the key. Oh. In the hole. Just like that. And now you are reset to put it back in. So those two are reset. We can get those. We'll get these back in, and then we'll pop those in. All right, this guide was a lot easier to get it if you go in from the bottom and get it up in there. So, and this is this Torx guy. And come on, Jimmy, find the hole, Jimmy. And we'll run that one in. This one's really easy. Just goes right down the top. Just like that. Now I just got to get the two bottom ones in. All right, this lower one on this side, same thing. It goes in pretty easy through the top. I'll make it all the way down there. Just tighten these guys up. And then we'll get the tensioners popped in there and released, and everybody should be happy at that point. Okay. All right, I gotta give these guys a torque. And now that we're all together, that one, that one, that one. That one. And I think I did this one already. Yep, okay. Now I gotta get the tensioners in. This part's pretty easy. This says left. It's got an L on it, which goes on the left side, which is the driver's side. It's from the back of the vehicle. So this guy just kind of goes right up in here, just like right there. Perfect. That points down. We'll make sure we get them both in before we pull that, but you can see that that's where she's at. She's right on that. And the other one goes down here. You lift that up, and the other one goes in that hole. All right, now that everybody's happy, all we gotta do is pull these. There's that one. That one's already tight. Oh, a little bit of loose on the top. So we'll just crank this over just a little bit, and that should pop right in. All right, so the way I did this is you make sure the chain is in the middle of the guides, right? And I just took this 15 right here, and I just put it just under there, and I just gave it a little bit, not too much, you know, but you want to just hear that guy, that lock click. I'll make sure there's no chattering in this chain, and I did a little bit too up here. Not too much, you just want to make sure that you get rid of that slop on that initial startup. Like, still in there, still good. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of looseness in there, so it's not too tight. And that's how I do it. Now we get to put the front cover on and start hooking. Oh, hey, public service announcement. All right, now before you go any farther and you do anything else, put these ground straps back on the back of the head. You'll hate yourself later. So you have a left one, and the other one's down back there somewhere, but make sure you get those two back on right now. They go right here on the back of the head. They're like right there. And that one is right there. No problem. Let's get those on. All right, so now that we got the ground cables on here, this is probably the easiest part of the entire thing. You just put it back together in reverse order. Valve covers, make sure you put new gaskets on them. Bolt those down. 15 foot-pounds, I think, on those bolts. Front cover goes back on. You just bolt it back up. Put a little bit of silicone on there. Intake comes with new gaskets. Pop new gaskets in it. Put the intake back on there. There's nothing technical about putting this thing back together until we get to the fuel rails. So let's get it to the fuel rails. All right, so we have all the hard parts on. Before we put the fuel rail on, if you remember in the last video, we had a bit of a O-ring issue. So this O-ring came off and you can see it's kind of chewed up, like it got pinched or something. So we are going to replace all of these ends, all these end O-rings on the manifold side. So we got to get all those off. And luckily, this kit comes with new ones. So we will be replacing these with some nice new ones. Make sure you just pop a little grease on there and on they go. So let's get these guys off. So we'll just be using a little screwdriver. Kind of be careful. I mean, if you want to, you can just cut them off, really. Ugh. So we will be popping all these off, cleaning up the end of the injectors, and popping on some new O-rings. Come on, buddy. So let's get all these off. All right, so now that they're all off, a little brake clean. Just clean these off a little bit just to get the dirt and the grime off them. Try not to get the end all full of gunk either. I mean, this is better than nothing, you know, like better than putting dirty injectors back in that hole, but this will cause a major vacuum leak. All right, and then just applying a little bit more than that. A little bit of fresh grease. These should pop right on like that. Oh, just a little bit of grease will help them seal in the manifold too. It is fuel soluble, so it's not going to be bad for anything. Yeah, so we'll just get the rest of these on. We'll go ahead and get this fuel rail bolted down. We'll get these coil packs installed and bolted down. Oh, that looks like a new one. So, and then after this, we'll be pretty much just about done. All right, home stretch. Most of the stuff is in. I have the fan, coolant, oil change, the intake stuff left to put on it. And we'll fire this thing up and hope it doesn't go boom. All right, let's get the fan and stuff in here. All right, well, that went way quicker than I expected. Everything is back in. We got a new air filter in there. I just need to put some coolant in it. I do need to change the 2 battery terminal ends, which I do have those just because these were shot and these didn't stay on the battery very good. You can see they're completely decrepit. So we're going to change those. Do an oil change, and fire this thing up and hope it doesn't go boom. All right, 5 quarts of Napa's finest 530, because the cap says so. And I put it on upside down. Next, we gotta throw some coolant in this thing, and then we're gonna fire it up. All right, you can get these cool funnels on like Amazon or even at the parts store. I'll be honest, I've had it a long time. I don't even know where I got it, but I'll throw some concentrate in here. I mean, it's orange, but coolant is coolant. It's fresh. Let's see what happens. The cool part is you can fill this thing to like here and then run it, and it'll suck the rest of it down, or it'll, you know, it'll purge as it's running, and you can keep the funnel on there. So we'll get this all in there, and this is the bleeder right here. You pop that guy until coolant comes out, and then you'll know that your radiator system is full. It comes down through here, so we'll pop that here in a second. Let's get at least a gallon in here first, though. And then we'll put, this is concentrate too, so this is 100%. I'm gonna fill this thing back up with water. All right, then we go get some water. Certainly, I got some hot water too, just because the sink was already running. So you can see, we'll get this guy cracked open. Oh, and there she is. All right, that part's full. All right, she's still drinking. All right, so we are bled. There's water there, so there's no air in this side of the system. This is half full. Everybody's in there. We've done a little, no more bubbles. Now we are going to turn the vehicle on, and you do want to have the heater on full blast so that you can make sure that you get all the coolant through the heater core, and you get all the bubbles out of the heater core when you're doing this. So always run it on max hot, and let's see what happens. And if you're watching this video, hopefully this goes well. All right, here we go. Ready? Full blast, heater's on. We're in park. Oh, we gotta get the fuel to the fuel rail, so we'll prime that one more time. Okay, here we go. Wow. So far, so good. There goes the heater. That's going to bubble out just a little bit while we move some stuff around. She's purring like a kitten. That's going to smoke off a little bit. You're going to get a little bit of the oil burning off from the headers that we dropped on there. Alright, well, we'll be back when this thing heats up and see if that stops bubbling. Well, it looks like success. We got no bubbles in there. We got no major leaks. We have heat, which is awesome. Dirty windows, but yeah, awesome. I don't think we have any check engine lights, and if we do, oh no, we have a gas light on. No check engine light either. Haha, sick. Success. That's a wrap. So we're gonna get the hood back on this thing. We'll get the thing back out to our friend, and then get ready for the next event, which I think is a TJ. I got another TJ coming in. The lockers don't work, so we're going to investigate that and figure out why the lockers don't work. All right, I'm going to curb these questions before they get here. I did not change the thermostat because I literally did it a couple of months ago. I did not change the water pump because we did that a couple of months ago. I didn't change a lot of things. The belt, because I just put a tensioner on it. That tensioner died. That's a brand new tensioner on there. What, 3 months ago? That was after the water pump. So yeah, we've been in this thing before. She's good to go now. So many more miles out of this thing. Works great. I'm happy because I don't have to do it again. So that worked out. We're going to get this thing out of here. And I'll see you guys real soon. Thanks. Bye.